Vankas, before we get into this episode with the Liam Lawson, we have to thank our partners over at Cash App for setting this whole thing up. Huge thank you to Cash App. They've been amazing partners this whole year, and they made this interview happen, and we couldn't be more honored and happy to be involved with them. So thank you, Cash App. Now enjoy this episode with the Liam Lawson.
What's up, Vankas?
Hello, Vankas.
Oh, he's melodic with it. He's
I
he's getting a preview.
It's going to be a musical episode, baby, because listen, there's a lot to sing about. We saw this guy in Miami, and he was like, guys, I got nothing to do.
We thanked him for his time. He's like, I got
like,
nothing but time.
He's like, seriously, guys, like, I'm doing nothing this weekend. Like, they got through FP2. Like, what are you guys doing, honestly? And now we are sitting here with the busiest man in Formula One, the topic of discussion, the man of the moment, the one and the only Liam Lawson. Welcome back to the pod, man.
Thanks very much for having me. Thanks for that beautiful introduction.
Yeah. So how's your docket now?
Yeah.
Versus the reserve.
We saw you last time. You were like, I'm not doing anything. Now you're like, you're the busiest person in the world right now, arguably.
Today was pretty busy. Yeah. Today, I mean, I'm busier than I was last time. That's definitely true
For sure.
But it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's what you sometimes.
I mean, it's
you say that with it, you're like it's good. It's good.
I don't
man.
really think I'm just complaining day one about my job. No, I'm not.
But here's the thing: our dream was to like interview Yuki Tsunoda and F1 drivers like yourself, and then we get the opportunity. We're like, oh fuck! Now we actually have to like show up and be prepared and know about your life, and it's like pressure
and bring cameras and lights.
I can say that
same,
the setup
basically.
looks serious. It looks more serious than last time.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
more impressed. These cameras are much more impressive than the last cameras.
Well, we barely know how to work them, so let's see if they come
see if
out.
they
Actually,
look
I've
better.
just looked at them now. They look really impressive.
They look really good.
Yeah.
I mean, since the news came out, everything's been going like. How these last few weeks been for you? How are your stress levels? How are you handling everything? It's all. This is going to come out in a couple of weeks, but we're here in Texas, and you got your first race back coming up. So how you doing? You want to just check in on you?
I'm doing all right. I'm almost forced to just, because of the time frame, just forced to just deal with it and go and roll with it basically, which is what it's been like. So since Singapore, it's been preparing media marketing stuff like that, getting everything ready for this weekend, because obviously none of my stuff was really prepared. And then personally, it's development simulator, preparing myself to drive the car. I was able to do a test in Mugello, in the Red Bull, which was great. It was just long runs,
right?
And Mugello's like, you watch F1 when it was Mugello? Were you not
before our time?
Before your time.
So what's the track like?
The track?
It's just high speed,
okay,
really hard on the neck.
Yeah,
I was like,
and so I was buried in the headrest.
yeah,
right.
Halfway through the day, solidly.
Yeah,
Which was good for me now though, because obviously it's conditioning for racing in F1. So it's just been busy. And now we're here. The last couple of weeks have flown by.
So how did you find out? Like, how did you know that you were going to get this seat?
Because, I had the conversations have been happening all year. The conversation started last year when I drove. So when I stepped back out of the car, I had many conversations with Christian and with Helmut.
Yeah.
And they were all sort of, you'll get your chance, you'll get your shot. It's looking like in the next 12 months, that's the goal basically. That's what they wanted to do. So, and that conversation has been happening through the year, and it's hard, it's up and down because it all depends on how the guys in the car are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting closer to the time, it was Baku. Basically, I flew to Baku for the race. I had a call from Christian to go and see him, and basically, it wasn't a phone call. It wasn't over the phone. It was done in person. How you're driving.
Right.
He called you in. Did you think you knew what it was about?
Yeah, I knew what it was about because we'd had conversations have been leading towards it. I just didn't know where it was going to be, and I don't think honestly they did it. It wasn't like it wasn't like back in the start of the year when they were saying we're going to give you a seat. It wasn't like they were saying you're going to drive this car or this it wasn't clear cut. It was basically you'll be somewhere
At some point.
Right.
And that was the time where they decided it's going to be here and now.
So when you get that news, you hear that, what's the immediate feeling? Is it excitement? Is it nervousness? Is it relief? Like what's that immediate kind of like? What's your stomach feeling?
Just relief.
Yeah,
man.
relief.
I just so much relief. I mean, for years visualized what it would be like to get told to have to hold that piece of paper, knowing that you're going to be driving a Formula One car as a full-time driver.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I called my dad straight away. So I spoke to Christian and then he left and I called my dad. It was like 3 a.m. in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he picked, the phone didn't even ring. He rang like twice
Yeah,
and he picked
yeah,
up.
yeah.
He was awake and ready, he knew that the conversations were leading up to that weekend.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So
And
he did not have his do not disturb on.
No, he was ready for it.
Put
And
that shit on disturb.
and I didn't
Disturb me, please, disturb me.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the funny thing is, I didn't speak to him for at least a week leading up to that because I couldn't keep calling him and telling him,
Right.
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I don't know.
So what? I mean,
So what was that? Yeah, what was
the
that call like?
What's the conversation like?
I called him. He answered. He said, the first thing he said was, "Tell me."
Yeah.
And I said, "I got it." And he was just, I could just hear the relief in his voice as well. It wasn't excitement or, oh my God, this is sick. It was just pure like relief.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because obviously for him, it's been as much, his journey as my journey. And my parents gave up so much, man, for me to do this.
Is that hard having that extra? I mean, how do you deal with you have enough pressure on yourself? I'm sure
It's not pressure because they would never make me ever feel like it was pressure, like I ever had to complete this journey for them or as much as I want to. That's obviously what I want to do, but they've never made me feel like there was any. Hey, Liam, we did this for you.
Yeah. They're not Jewish, your parents.
No,
That's something my parents would have done.
you
Spent all this money, you better deliver. But you were aware of it, right? You couldn't help being aware of it when you got older.
Yeah, and it's something I really regret from being younger is how much when I was in go-karts and even in New Zealand, go-karts is expensive. It's it's high level as well, to be honest. The driving standard in New Zealand is good.
Yeah.
And in go-karts as well. Like our guys go and compete, in worldwide and they do well. So and I remember being a kid and my friends, my best mates and guys around me that I raced against would rock up to the track and they'd have 4 or 5 engines and 2 go-karts and this guy why does he have that their trailer's so cool, why do we have this trailer? And realizing how much of a dickhead I sounded like as a kid, to complain to my dad about that or to ask him those questions at that age. Obviously I didn't know at the time, but I feel so guilty now looking back, knowing how much he gave everything for me to race.
Right.
So yeah, but they would never make me feel like I owed them as much as I do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a special thing. I think that's the sacrifice that a parent makes for a child. I think it's a classic kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
It's so heightened in your case because the highs are so intense and high and the sacrifice is so great. I think we breathed a sigh of relief in some way.
Yeah.
It's like talking to you in May and to now it's pretty amazing to see. Yeah. And okay. Where do we go? And I feel I'm just in the therapy session.
Yeah.
I just feel like
wow,
here we are.
Yeah, yeah,
so
I feel moved.
Yeah, because every parent sacrifices for their kid, right? But I think this is just such a dramatic. I think that's why everyone relates to it because I think it's such a heightened version of every kid's relationship.
Yeah,
with
well, you
their
live in
parents.
a high octane world. I think that's something that people are drawn to with F1 is that it takes things that everyone kind of experiences on some small level and it just blows it out of proportion. It's everything's exploded in that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have all this on your shoulders, right? You have all this weight, you have all this intensity, but then you have the job to do. You have the next 6 races. You've only, last year you drove in Qatar.
That was the last one I did.
Yeah. But the other ones,
but that's the only overlap you have, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
sorry.
No.
You're going in complete. Sorry, I was like, you're going completely blind.
Sprint weekends, 3 of them.
Yeah,
I know. They
dude.
really saved the sprints for the end of the year, didn't they?
That was really nice of them to do that. Qatar's the only one.
Yeah.
And I can't say I'm extremely excited for that race, considering how hard it was.
You get to do the one horrible race. You get to do that one again, and then the rest you haven't done before.
Yeah.
How
Thanks for pointing that out, man.
how are you preparing for the? Are you going race by race? Or you're like, I'm just focusing on the next race, or are you like kind of like doing them all?
It's
in a
race by
bundle?
race. Yeah, it's race by race, and it was. Honestly, it's very similar to last year. The approach, last year was almost resetting each weekend. They were new tracks, most of them, or when you're that fresh into Formula One, even if you know the track, it's still almost starting from square one each weekend. So, and that's what it's gonna be like these races as well. So right now it's purely focused on, we did the simulator prep for all the 3 races, but right now it's focused on Austin, and then we'll just switch that to Brazil, to Mexico, and then to Brazil, and we'll basically take it race by race.
When we talked to you last time, we talked about how, there are certain tracks that are easier to kind of learn, get up to speed, and then there's other ones where you're like, you talked about how Zandvoort was like, oh my god, this is the track
Couldn't be worse.
Yeah. Changing it
that I'm debuting in are in of the next tracks. Are there ones that you feel like, okay, I feel like I have a handle of this one. This one deserves that more attention. How do you occupy that pie chart?
I think Mexico, so I did a free practice session. It's hard to say because I could sit here and say that I think I need less time on this one, and then I go there and it ends up being harder. It also depends on how the car's suited, how much speed we have, because some tracks are better suited, and we don't really know until we go there. So it's really hard to say, but it's a good question because, to be honest, there are easier tracks to learn. Austin's a long lap. Yeah. Austin's a lap that you have to put everything together, lots of different sequences. That's what they designed it, making the track. They wanted different parts of other tracks into one, so it's quite complex. And it's a hard lap. So, this one's going to be tricky versus maybe Brazil, short lap, very similar sort of layouts in terms of the way that most of the corners are. Very flowy and but again, we could go there and it could be really, really tough. So it's hard to say.
I have a random question for you. I just watched the Bruce McLaren documentary, and they talked about like this number 8 wire mentality. Do you know what that is?
I haven't watched it.
But you know what number 8 wire is?
No.
It's like the New Zealanders are very resourceful and they can make anything out of number 8 wire.
Out of a number 8 wire.
Yeah, number 8 wire. It was like a type of fencing.
Yeah.
That they use, and that's the thing about New Zealanders, that they live in the middle of nowhere and they have to like sort of cobble together. That's like kind of part of their identity, is that they can sort of they're
DNA.
resourceful.
Yeah.
Resourcefulness. Like they don't have all the resources, and this kind of feels like. And that was like Bruce McLaren's thing. He was kind of from New Zealand. He kind of made it happen on his own, and
he did an incredible job. Yeah.
Is that something that like resonates with you? Is like, because it feels like it's never like you haven't had a clean run.
No,
you get dropped in.
It's exactly what my whole career so far has been like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like, and it's anybody that's from New Zealand. That's basically what you're going to deal with throughout trying to make it in racing, and obviously, maybe even more so for me from a young age, going back to having less money than other, guys I raced against. It started from when I first started, at the very start, I in karts, because I never had the best gear or I never had the best engines. To be honest, I never qualified. Like all the national events I did or won, I never qualified really in the top 10. I was like 10th or 9th or something like that. And it was just heat races, trying to battle my way through and basically dealing with what we had. And that's what it's been like, for forever. And I've been extremely lucky to have every opportunity line up, because the timing of everything, if you go back to when I was 12 years old and you say you're going to be a Formula One driver and show them what's basically happened to get here, there's no way you'd believe the timing and the way that everything's happened is pretty weird. So I'm very lucky.
I would say it's special.
It's very special.
I mean, that type of thing. Sometimes the easy route, doesn't. Diamonds are made in a crucible under pressure.
Yeah.
I think, especially given last year, you showed I think people, were shocked at your performance last year. You coming in like that on the short notice and then your continued performance. Do you feel like, you were kind of maybe built for that? That your training has like led you to this moment, that it's actually kind of, they say luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So
yeah, I would say I was thankful to have dealt with all the different, scenarios that I have had in my career.
Yeah.
All the different, random stuff I've done, going to DTM for a season and doing Super Formula and all these other championships and I guess adapting to quite different styles of racing, styles of cars. In New Zealand, we have the ability to race a car at 12 years old. So I was in a Formula V or Formula First race car on a racetrack at 12 years old, which you don't have the opportunity to do really anywhere in the world. And then I was in a Formula Ford at 13 and I've actually done a lot, like for my age, because of being from New Zealand, I've done a lot of racing for my age. And I think to answer your question, yes, I was pretty thankful to have done that, because without it would have made that jumping in a lot harder.
There's also seems to be something with this young generation. Also, I feel like there's a real swell of like, there's a bit of a changing of the guard that's starting here.
Feeling a shift, yeah.
There's like, feels like there's these waves, right? There's these kind of like, the grid's the same for a while, and then there's like, we're shuffling this thing up.
Yeah.
And there's, between yourself, Colapinto, Bierman, that coming in and kind of being impressive from debut. What do you kind of feel like your generation is bringing to F1 that's new?
I think, for us, we started driving simulators and driving high aero cars at 15, 16 years old, let's say. I was driving like the older spec F3 car, which is proper downforce. You're going through, you're reading data from a very young age, and then you're in simulators from a very, very young age as well. You're in simulators now from 7 or 8 years old. You can get your little home sim and start driving on it, and then you can start going through data. And I just think the access we have now, obviously it's come a long way in the last 10 years, especially, or in the last 20 years, that the way that we developed, I think, is a different style to the way that guys in the previous generation developed to get to Formula One.
Yeah.
And you have a peak, obviously. You have an age where you're, as an athlete, you're at your best. I would say that I'm at that now. I don't know how long that lasts, obviously. But I guess once you reach it, you're always learning, but once you reach it, you've done a big part of your development. And I think for us, at least in this generation, our development's just a lot different, maybe a lot more advanced than it was. And that's why maybe we're able to step in and do okay. And maybe now teams are starting to trust that more.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know it's hard, especially in this cost cap era of F1, to trust a new rookie versus an experienced guy. It's hard.
Well, because the last few rookies were maybe a little bit they ran up some bills, and but now you came in last year, and
it feels like you kind of started. You
started the
your
wave.
impressive.
You started the wave.
You kind of did.
Thanks, guys.
You're a pioneer.
I think you did.
We're putting you on such a high pedestal right now.
You are. You really are.
Well, I think it's true. I think even with Colapinto and Bierman, people, they were kind of like, this, we saw what Liam did last year.
Venkas, as you know, we have teamed up with BetMGM this season, and we are using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code DADDY, and you will get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here is how it works. You download the BetMGM app, and you sign up using the bonus code DADDY, because we're fun. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use the bonus code DADDY when you sign up. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code DADDY and get your first $1,500 first bet offer today. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and over. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY for New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF for Indiana. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code DADDY and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Now back to the show.
You started this wave of people trusting this this next generation, because it felt like there was like a roadblock there for a while.
I think also it's trusting a junior that's been a part of your, like, for me, I've been with Red Bull for so long.
Right. Yeah.
That's they it was great. It was cool that they put me, obviously it's great for me to put me in the car. And you have with Colapinto, he's a Williams junior, for them not to go and look, like, I was pretty stoked that they didn't look elsewhere at an experienced guy or even somebody else from another team, that they just trusted their junior and put him in. And it's basically them having faith in their junior program, which is sick.
I mean, that must have been devastating, the Nick DeVries thing.
At the time it was. Look, at the time it was, but I also had to sit back and look at it from Red Bull's perspective and go, why they're not selecting me. And although I felt like I'd done things in certain races, overall in the championship, we finished third in F2. So I didn't do... And at the time that the decision was made for Nick, it was quite early in the season. And at that point, I wasn't having a very good season. So I knew that one-off races weren't enough for them to go, hey, we can trust this guy to put him in an F1 car. But I think also at that time, maybe people or teams weren't realizing how F2 is not judging a driver on just their F2 results isn't. I mean, look at Ollie right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and you put him in an F1 car and he's fine.
Yeah.
So what you're the god of F2. I make you in charge. Like, what do we need to change about F2 to make it so you can actually figure out who can perform in F1?
In F2, you have one engineer and you have maybe a performance engineer, and then you have 2 or 3 mechanics on your car, and that's your section of the 2 mechanics actually, and that's your side of the garage. You have like 4 or 5, maybe 4 people. You go into F1, and you have like so many more. I don't even know how many actually, to be honest, but there's a lot, a lot of people, and you work with a lot more people, and it's so much more in detail. And then the car is probably the biggest thing. The car doesn't drive anything like an F1 car.
Right.
It's doesn't prepare you for driving an F1 car. And I've done it on weekends where I've gone Abu Dhabi F2 free practice into F1 free practice in the Red Bull, and not a single thing correlates.
Of all the shit you've done, what prepared you? What do you think is the most indicative of
Super Formula?
Formula?
Yeah,
that's what we've heard. I think that seems like
because that car is so much closer. It's really? the way the aero works. They actually develop a lot more. The teams are able to, although it's a one-spec series, they have different engines. So you have Honda versus Toyota. So you'll have engine manufacturers that are pushing, obviously their side of things. And on the car side, I guess the regulations aren't as strict maybe, and they're actually able to develop the car a little bit and do little things. Bigger team, you have more people, it's closer to F1, and the car is just so much faster. The car's, like the Super Formula car is really fast. Like in terms of, it has half the horsepower nearly of F1, but in Suzuka, or we're like not that far off.
Yeah. Just that Western bias.
Sure.
The Western bias that you suffer from and the people in Japan suffer from. And it's terrible.
Well, we'd heard Super Formula was that way. We heard that it was actually kind of the better training.
Honestly, for F1, that was the best thing I've done. Doing that series all the way up to then getting in at Zandvoort.
I mean, Gasly did that, right?
Yeah.
So, it's...
You're not the only one saying that, because everyone's looking at Colapinto and they're like, wait a minute, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's just, nothing, the way you drive the car, the way the car feels is about as far away from, the best car to prepare you for drive, or the closest thing in the junior ranks is like the old F3 car. The one that Max drove. Max went from F3 to F1.
Right.
Yeah.
That era of F3, that car, I drove it for a little bit when I was a lot younger. The way you drive that car is so much more like an F1 car.
Right.
The way you combine on entries and the way the aero works, it's a lot more like F1.
And is that why like certain drivers struggle with different eras of cars? Like their driving style has to change so drastically?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And you can be, I think that's why also it can kill your career in certain guys' cases going through F2 is if you just can't get your head around the car, if you can't, or if you're not in the right team, or if you're not in the right, it's so easy. There's so many guys that I've raced against, man, that are so good that aren't in F1 right now.
And let's say you saw someone in the Red Bull garage struggling, right? And then they always do this, dude. They always, when Daniel Ricciardo's struggling or Sergio Perez is struggling, they always fucking cut to
me, bro. I know. You should see. I'm standing there. Something will happen. Either one of them will spin, and I'll like look down the pit lane. Dudes with his camera sprinting down the pit lane like, to get the shot. And I'm like, every single time they do it.
And what's your move? Like, he's an actor.
I'm trying so hard not to smile when not because of what's happened, but just because I know what they're doing. I know the camera's coming.
Yeah.
I know that he's trying not to lose his job and get the shot.
Right.
It's just the situation. It cracks me up, dude. Like,
so what do you think of? Do you think of anything to try to keep your like? Just think of what I had for breakfast. Or you go into a mind state?
Yeah, I think whatever I can. The first thing, like whatever I can.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm in the. It's like this. It's actually the amount of people mentally focused than being in the car.
Dude, it's. You ever been in class like when you're younger and it's like a test and you have to be really silent,
right?
And you're trying not to laugh. It's like that.
So you're trying not to crack up.
Yeah, so, I mean, not all the time. It depends on what's happened. If they've just spun, then yeah. Obviously, if they've had a crash, I'm not sitting there laughing. But
if it was a spin, I just wanted one or something. I just wanted one time for you to just be like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I do.
It's so entertaining as fans when you see that. You see you looking and also when you're in the garage.
You're so good at poker. You should play poker.
Because also when you're in the garage. They have like the broadcast on the monitors.
You see
it's
yourself.
on like a little delay.
We all see ourselves.
Yeah.
Whenever they cut to a shot of somebody in the garage and they're just like, they know very well that they've been looked at.
By the way, that's how you know the person's a pro is when they don't react. When they go like this, you're like amateur.
No, 100%. 100%. I used to be like.
And they're like, that guy, he's not ready.
No,
Helmet saw that. He's like, he's not ready.
What's this guy doing?
Thank us. We wanted to take a second to let you know about our new sponsor, Everyman Jack. Everyman Jack is the OG clean men's care brand. Body wash, shampoo, deodorant, skincare, beard care. They have everything you need to get fresh and not terrify women or anyone that you're talking to. All of their products have naturally derived ingredients with no harsh chemicals. Also, they smell great. All of their scents are outdoor inspired. They've got signature scents like cedarwood and sandalwood, plus a new one like Pacific cypress and coconut and vanilla. Now I can pretend to be outdoorsy even though I never leave my couch and I live in New York City. I'm a city kid, but sometimes I want to feel like I was raised in the woods, and Everyman Jack gets that done for me. And the best part is how affordable they are. There's no need to spend over $10 for body wash and deodorant when you can get something incredible for less than that with Everyman Jack. I love their deodorant and their body wash. I feel clean and I smell like I'm a freaking woodsman. And it's making my girlfriend very happy. She loves it, and so do I. Give Everyman Jack a shot today and go to everymanjack.com and use the code REDFLAGS at checkout for 25% off your first order. That's everymanjack.com's code REDFLAGS, plural, at checkout for 25% off your first order. I did that when we were in the garage in Austin last year, and it cut. I saw the camera guy, and I was like, we're going to be in the background of the shot, and I was just like, I was like, I don't think anyone's treated it like that before.
Yeah, it was like a fan cam. Yeah, now that you're in the, we got to know when you were announced, were you added to some group chat?
I was.
Yeah.
Who
does it?
Who does it?
What's it like?
I was actually added today.
Breaking this
like
exclusive.
literally today. Yeah. There's a. I don't even know if there's a the GPDA, like the Grand Prix Drivers Association.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is basically just the Formula 1 drivers.
Right.
And I remember last year I didn't get added to it.
You didn't get added to it?
And I remember we talked about
this
it, and they were like,
temp.
they were like, we're gonna add you, and then I didn't get added, and then I was coming up to my last race, and I was like,
said that?
Who said we're gonna add you?
I can't remember. There's
Yeah, you can.
A culture of silence is not healthy.
and then I got to the end of it. I was like, yeah, they're not going to add me.
Wow.
And then they didn't. But I did get added today. So
And was that chills? Was that chills?
Well,
what's been chills?
Honestly, no. Like
No.
without sounding really bad, it would have been when I was a kid and I was, I looked up to these guys.
Yeah,
But
Right.
I don't look up to these guys anymore. I want to beat these guys. That's what I'm here to do. So it's not like, it's not, if I was here and fanboying over one of the drivers, obviously it'd be or or if I looked at somebody like they were really, really good and potentially better than me, then what are we doing here? So
you're just hearting everything. Ha ha ha.
Good joke, guys. Wait, has there been any jokes? Any like?
Is there banter, or is it just business?
In there, or just is it been a desert?
I haven't looked at it. Okay. Yeah, I got added, and I haven't looked at it since.
Wow.
To be honest, it's been a busy day. Busy day. I'll go through it.
Wait, so like, what else has been? Have you done like the walk yet? Have you had to do your like dun 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 dun, dun like the intro walk? Have you done that?
Yeah, I went to London to do that.
Okay,
yeah.
what pose are we? What pose we got?
I don't think I did anything. Okay. Like I didn't do anything like special, which I'm kind of regretting now. I should have done like a New Zealand.
You should have done the haka.
Like a
yeah.
Have you ever done the haka before a race?
Well, no. I mean, you can't just do a haka by yourself. You're gonna have a team. You
could teach your mechanics how to do it. It's very terrifying.
When you have a big group of people, it's very moving. It's a very powerful thing.
Yes.
But
totally.
When you do it by yourself, it's not as cool.
Okay, wait. We heard Bruce McLaren, Kiwi.
Yeah,
but McLaren's winning these races this year, and they're playing the. I'm like,
you don't understand.
Where's the New Zealand national anthem?
Mate, makes no sense. You know, like it's a New Zealand team. The name is still McLaren.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And Red Bull play the Austrian national anthem.
Yeah.
And the team's based in the UK.
Yeah.
Right.
McLaren's based in the UK, but it's a New Zealand team.
There's not enough British teams. That's the problem. They need representation.
Exactly. It's completely bullshit. Is what it is. Like honestly, it's like, especially if you're from New Zealand, man. That's like
it's a slap in the face.
It is, yeah, because Bruce McLaren is.
He's the legend.
He's an absolute legend.
Who are the legends now? It's you, Lord. who are the legend? Who are the big people?
You know, I would sit here and say that we excel in many sports and many things. Right. But I'm really struggling to think of it off the top of my head.
Well, Lord's pretty good.
Yeah.
And Liam Lawson.
So there's many more. Hang on, there's not just
Scott Dixon,
Marcus Armstrong.
Okay, in terms of drivers, obviously there's loads.
And so speaking of Lord and music, how does music fit into we know you're a bit of a music man, and
I am.
What do you use? Like this is a stressful time in your life. You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
How do you use music? Do you listen to music to unwind? Is there a relaxing, meditative part of music for you?
Well, I mean, I play guitar, and that's probably how I unwind. In terms of listening to music, that's more of probably at the track, or I listen to music everywhere. To be fair, I listen to music a lot. Who
are you listening to right now?
When I'm in America, it's very country, but also my girlfriend's American, so
right.
I've had to listen to country music, and like it, which I actually do. To be fair, now,
because she's
very country, she likes country music. So, and then other than that, like before a race, it's more. I would say I probably listen to more rap than anything before a race. J. Cole, it's probably main one, and then recently a bit of Don Toliver is. Do you know who Don Toliver is?
I
don't know Don. I know J. Cole. What's your?
Yeah, look at this guy.
We're older than you guys.
We're old as shit, dude. We're a different generation.
We're like not Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your favorite J. Cole song?
No Role Models. I think it's my favorite song ever, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he performed in a cafeteria in my college for like 8 people.
He didn't.
Yeah, nobody came. He was a nobody. He opened for Big Daddy Kane. Do you know exactly? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, exactly. He's a legend.
That's how old we're showing our age.
Yeah.
Wait, you weren't there though.
I was there. I was one of the 8 people. Yeah.
You were one of the 8 people.
I came to see Big Daddy Kane, and I was like, oh, this guy J. Cole's pretty good. In a cafeteria, smaller than this place.
Do you remember what he did?
I don't.
I
don't remember. I was, in college. I was.
That was 30 years ago.
That was 30 years ago.
Anything else?
Crooked Smile, shit like that. Yeah, it's like that old shit.
It's the best. Yeah, that's his best stuff.
Anything else you want to hit before we?
Well, we heard you like music, so it's just coincidentally.
Yeah, listen. We want the Red Flags podcast to be a place where you can feel relaxed, where you can unwind. So we've got some guitars here for you.
Vankas, not only does Cash App sponsor our favorite perfectly branded Formula One team, but they also make it easier for you to save money so you can do things that you love, like going to an F1 race. Boobies. Listen, to be honest, we thought that Cash App was just a way to send people money, right? You just send people money. Hey, Cash App me. Okay, I got you. But actually, it's a faster and simpler way to bank. You can start saving with as little as $1 with no hidden fees, no minimum balance requirements, and no account fees. Minimum balance requirements is crazy. It's just like, let me live. And Cash App lets you do that. And we all know that overdraft fees make no sense. Why are you charging someone if they don't have any money? Plus, when you deposit $300 or more in paychecks, you can get up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. It pays to get paid on Cash App. So go download the app today. Now back to the show.
Tell me something more.
Damn, that is that.
And then it's C, and then it goes, oh, we can't do it. Though.
Yeah, no.
That was literally,
Tell me something, Liam. Are we gonna see him on the podium? Yeah.
Now he's in F1. Is he gonna go Hollywood? I don't know, that doesn't rhyme. But we're still having a good time.
So good.
All right, Liam, your turn.
Yeah, no chance of my doing that.
Doing FP1
with a full-time drive.
Are we gonna have fun?
You guys are way too good at this.
Or we just gonna be alive? Yeah. Liam Lawson.
He is fucking awesome.
Yes! Say it, Liam. Liam
Lawson. He is fucking awesome.
So, do you feel better?
Dude, that was so good. You guys like nailed that. You actually have singing voices though. You guys do sing.
Don't talk down to me.
No, what do you?
No, he's a real singer. Yeah, I can't do two things at once.
Yeah,
I can't belt like that.
Yeah.
And play the tambourine. You know.
We should totally have a jam session though at some point, like a proper
jam. Who would we invite to the jam session from the grid?
Charles.
Well, Charles is good on piano,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely Charles could be in there.
Yeah, who else? I mean, I know Lewis's music does some music
produce.
stuff.
I think he's real. Like he's done a lot of.
He can be there, kind of like telling us what to do.
Have you heard his song?
Yeah.
I love it when you lay the pipe down, pipe down, pipe down. Oh shit! We should do the acoustic version of that. You can ask his permission,
so that we don't get copyrighted.
So we don't get copyrighted.
What if we're gonna do a jam sesh? Where are you putting Yuki on the jam sesh?
Yuki?
Yeah.
Drums, right?
Tambourine?
Just hit shit.
He just breaks shit. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, you and Yuki go way back. We interviewed Yuki earlier today. He said that he talked about your guys' dynamic. Your guys is like, you've raced against each other for a long time. You have this friendship that sometimes on track, you guys like.
He says you tend to find each other.
You guys find each other.
You want to know a story about that kid?
Yes,
dude. When we used to race, Yuki used to do this thing. So the first year that we were teammates in F3 was 2019, and we did FIA-F3. We weren't teammates.
Yeah.
And then we did Euro Formula Open, which was like the older F3 cars. At the same time, we did both championships. We had to miss a couple of rounds, but we were teammates in that. So I got to know him pretty well. And all year, the team that we were racing for were the best in the Euro Formula, so we were always at the front. In a practice session or in a quali session, whenever I was on a cool-down lap, and Yuki would come past me, and I'd see him coming in the mirror, so I'd get out of his way, he would always insist on just getting, like, as close to me as possible. Like, I don't know if he was trying to scare me or what it was, but just like right in front of me.
Whoa, that was good.
What is this kid doing?
Wow.
Like, and he did this all year. And we go to Macau.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, Macau, it's an insane circuit. It's like street circuit, really bumpy. It's borderline can't believe they race there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Really, really cool track. And in so we both get phone calls from, it's both of our first time, we get phone calls from Helmut, and he says, whatever you do not crash in the first session because you need the time on the track to build up for the qualifying. Don't crash.
Yeah.
Roger that.
Yeah.
So we go to Macau. I go out first lap on track. The practice session's like an hour long. Very first lap I go out. I do my first lap. I complete it. I cool down. I'm on my cool down lap now, and I see Yuki coming in the rear view. And I'm like trying to get out of his way, obviously. I'm trying to get all the way over to the left side of the wall. I'm up against a brick wall, literally trying to be next to him. And he comes up, and as he comes past me, he just clips my front wheel and he goes flying. And just straight into the barrier, like gearbox off the back of the car, like destroys the car.
Yeah.
Breaks my front suspension as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm out of the session now as well.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I knew exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows this.
Right,
Everyone
right.
just thinks that we've had a clumsy little crash.
Right.
But I know what he's done. I know that he's tried to get close and he's obviously hit a fucking bump because it's Macau. Misjudged it.
Yeah.
And I see him in the elevator that night. I remember the elevator doors opening. It was the first time I seen him. And he's standing there. And I looked at him like, and he smiled at me. And I knew straight away that he knew exactly what he had done. And he basically just tried to get really close and just rode off his car in the very, very first session.
Yeah. And I said, do you talk, like when you have a sketchy moment, he called it, do you talk about it after? He goes, no, I just say, oh, remember that time? Funny story. Like he talks about like.
Dude, we crashed together in Spa.
Yeah.
Really like intense part of the year championship.
Yeah.
We'd found this iPhone game earlier in the week called Flick Tennis.
Okay.
And we'd been playing each other all week on this tennis game on our iPhones. And we crashed in the race.
Yeah.
Like bad crash, both of us out of the race. And I get out of the car and I go to him and we're both like pissed off and we didn't say anything. He looked at me and he just goes, Flick Tennis? I was like, oh my God.
And were you like, yeah? Were you
Yeah,
like, I get. What was your vibe?
Yeah, let's go play Flick Tennis.
That's how
Let's go play flick tennis.
tennis.
C, G, A minor, F. With my friend Yuki. We might have crashed on track. Let's go take a dookie as friends. Dookie as friends. Teammates with Yuki Tsunoda. You never know what you're gonna get. But I bet we're gonna have a good time. Gonna have a good
time.
time, dude.
Rewrite some songs,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. What I mean, have you talked about being teammates in Formula One, or is this going to be?
No, it's not something you go. We don't really talk about it. I mean, I was last year as well. It's just basically a repeat of that. And I know you get to an age and you realize that you're competing against each other, but you're the best way to give yourself the best chance at doing well is to obviously push the team forward as well, and you have to do that together. You can't do that separately.
What have you seen? Like, I feel like we've watched him kind of grow and get so much better as a driver these last few years. Have you what's been the change that you've seen in him?
He crashes less.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just it comes with age. He's just more mature now than he was. I think at the same time, he came into F1 without doing anything that I've done. So he came into F1 from doing a year of F2.
Right.
Yeah.
No reserve, no nothing, just straight in at that age. So I think, he probably had a lot to learn, very quickly.
Right.
And similar, I guess, to now, but he hadn't done that same prep. So I think that's why he's, come a long way in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So when you compose a song, what's your process?
I don't really write songs, but I used to write songs. There's like a
coming out with an
YouTube,
album.
there's a
There's a
YouTube
YouTube
video.
of you doing an original when you're like 12.
Yeah.
You see that?
Young Beebs, dude.
I know. I literally was. No, I was like 11 or something like that. Yeah. that was the last time I wrote a song.
Okay.
Why did you stop?
I don't know.
You lost.
I'd love to though. I would actually be keen to get back into it because I love I record every year now. I go home and record.
And you recording covers?
Recently it was from recording covers.
Okay.
With a couple of friends that I play with as well, similar to this, honestly.
Yeah.
Just
get
like
together.
this.
Just like
Just
this.
the cameras and a whole bunch of
Yes,
people watching.
exactly.
Go to a studio, yeah.
All right. Well, we got to wrap up here. I feel like I don't know. How do we want to end this thing?
A musical version of Goodbye Vankas.
Goodbye Vankas.
The musical.
Yeah, sure.
Vankas, we are taking a break from this episode to talk to you about our newest sponsor, Chomps. Chomps is the perfect snack. It's my favorite snack to bring with me on race day. With 10 to 12 grams of protein per stick, it's a good source of protein and high quality protein at that. You got to make sure that what you're putting in your body, it's high quality, and with Chomps, it is. Also, 0 grams of sugar and 100% grass-fed and finished beef. That's what you're getting with Chomps. And on top of all that, it tastes good. Here's what I like to do. I like to bring handful of Chomps, throw them in my backpack, go to the race so I can be nice and fueled. Don't get distracted by the booths and the funnel cake and all the stuff that's bad for you. You need a good, healthy snack because it's hot at these races. You want to make sure that you're fueled up and ready to go so that you can watch Lando Norris blow another start. That's listen, but Chomps helps me get through those races. It helps me get through those races with their delicious, delicious sticks. And if you want to learn more, you can go to chomps.com/redflags. The link will be in the description. It's once again, chomps.com/redflags. Learn more and get your Chomps today. Now back to the show.
So E minor, G, A minor, D.
What do you think? A minor?
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
Then back to C. And then back to G. And then back to E minor.
Nice.
Why do I feel like the lead singer, but I don't?
Because you are right. Nah, sorry, that's wrong. Go D. That's still not right, dude. It doesn't make sense, right? It's still not right.
I think that's good. E minor, so G, D, G. All right.
We finally got there.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes. For tuning in. Liam Lawson is gonna be zooming
on the track, on the track,
on the track.
'Cause he's back.
'Cause he's back.
Liam's back.
Liam's back. Liam's back. Liam's back. Liam's back. Liam's back. Liam's back.
We'll see what we got of this. Okay.
Well done, guys. That was.
Was that good or was that great?
Are you gonna have? Are you gonna be smiling about this later or having nightmares? Are you gonna be dreaming about it positively or negatively later? I feel like you're gonna be dry at one point. Here's the promise that you need to make to us. At some point over the next 6 races, you have a great result.
You just go, Liam's back.
Liam's back. On the attack. Yeah. Yeah, Liam's back.
Yeah.
At least think it.
Okay.
You don't have
promise,
to say it.
I promise. It's
Okay.
just one of the.
And then press the radio button. And then just go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, could you honor us with the goodbye, Vankas?
What does I say? Goodbye, Vankas.
Because you've done, how many times have you done this? Come
This
on.
is your second time on the pod.
Did I do it last
I
time?
think so.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Vankas.
Yeah. Goodbye, Vankas.
Vankas.